Hey everyone, we're going to be doing Lily of the Valley by a drain, and here's the drain. It's an overcast day. The sun has gone behind the clouds. The rain had just finished, and we actually were driving somewhere else, and I saw this patch of Lily of the Valley in our neighborhood, and I said, stop! And I happened to have my camera and the rig on it, so I decided to do a little shoot. So these are the images that we are going to be working toward today. They should flip over here in a second. These sweet little blossoms. Isn't it amazing that by a drainage ditch, you can get really beautiful, sweet things? And these are super simple to photograph because they're white. They have these really bright little blossoms. And then the leaves are these big undulous swaths of rich green. And I will show you in the editing portion how I'm going to fix some of the yellow that's in the green. It can be a little bit yellow, and so we're going to work for that. And the next image that we're going to work through is one that kind of gave me a run for my money. I wasn't quite sure how to tackle this until I did one little move at the end, and then all of a sudden it made a lot of sense. So we're going to dig into this, and we'll go to the behind the scenes shoot, and then we will dig into the editing portion. All right, let's look at the shoot. These are my settings. ISO 500, 1/1000th of a second, because I was handheld. And when you hand hold the camera, especially when you're not using the viewfinder in order to really get in there and brace it against your face, you have to be really careful. I slowed this footage down a little bit to try to not make people as seasick as you could be if you saw the original. These are kind of difficult to shoot. They have little bunches, and so you have to kind of figure out, how am I going to tell the story of these blossoms in this area? You know, how am I going to make one stand out or a bunch stand out? And I just kind of went back and forth and thought about it right there. And yeah, get it back in focus and try to figure out how I was going to tell a little story of these cute little things. And seriously, they are just in the middle of a street right along the drainage ditch. Nothing super or along the drain and the sidewalk. It's hard to know because sometimes when you are shooting, you have things closer to the camera that are out of focus, and it can be kind of distracting. You'll see that more when I go through the edits. And then this one was really pretty too. It's kind of hard to stabilize it. These blossoms are literally maybe three-quarters of a centimeter long. They're really tiny, and it can be super hard. All right, let's head into our editing video. Hey everyone, this is the Lily of the Valley shoot. I wanted to walk you through some of the images so you can see. To recap, I'm going to show you the original step back here, the behind the scenes, and give you a little bit of feedback about the location. So this was taken in here in Lake Minnesota on the street. This is, so it's a cooler climate. We're still just kind of marching into spring. And this is just a drainage area of this off the road. So I'm actually standing on the road and sitting on the curb side, and you can see the old growth from the Lily of the Valley from last year, just kind of draped over. These need to be divided really, really badly. I think they're very, 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 very thick. Anyway, so this is the step back. And I wanted to just show you quickly what it looked like. So I'm going to grab one that isn't edited. And isn't this sweet? So 90mm macro, A7 III Sony. And the settings you'll see on the pullback video, the shooting video. So as far as editing goes, this is so simple, so simple. The overcast sky was a huge softbox. Nothing was a difficult exposure. The dark green is really pretty. And so really what I'm going to do is just emphasize the color of the green that I like the best, and then just maybe craft the image so that you see the little white things better, kind of minimize distractions. So I'm going to go into the editing portion here, and it's super fast edit. I'm going to go to yellow, not green, and I'm going to pull out the saturation of the yellow, and then I'm going to go over to green and move it over to more of a cool side and pull the saturation out of that. Now, this again is kind of a massaging type thing. We want to get it sort of where it looks good, and then I can just sync that to the rest. I'm just looking to have it be a little bit less, a little bit less yellow. I might go into the green here and see how far I can push the luminance down. In this case, I can actually push it quite a ways. Sometimes you can't. And you can see other videos of mine where we have issues with doing that very thing. And then I'm going to go in here to the linear gradient, lower my exposure a little bit, pull it in from the side just to help deepen and darken those shadows a little bit, and pull it over from this side as well. And then maybe bring that up a bit, bring this one up a bit. I don't want it to be completely dark. And then go into crop. I think I'm going to go with the 16:9 aspect ratio. Pull it in just a little bit. And I'm just deciding if I want it centered or if I want to move it over a little bit. I think that's truer to the original crop. And I like it. And that's it. I mean, isn't this fun? I mean, it's just so dramatic. If you wanted to do one thing to take it a step farther, I could go into the healing tool here and get off some of the just natural, a bird may have done his business on here. There could have been insects or some kind of, who knows what, some kind of fungus or who knows what grows on these things. And that just cleans it up a little bit. Now, that's not the best job there, so I'm going to actually go in and activate this and remove it. See if I can make it a little softer. Bring up my feather. Feathering's important when you're removing things, for sure. Like that. Just minimize that. Is that not the prettiest? So I can save that one out to my little camera roll. Right there. Really neat. And I could go in and make it a little bit darker and then up the highlights because the white is going to be that. So maybe I'll go over the top of that and we'll just use that one. That looks good. And see how deep and rich that is? How cool. And actually, depending on the light situation, you don't necessarily have to change the color of the greenery. When I look at this here, this little one here, it's already really dark. I don't have to do a whole lot. To balance it out, I might go in here to the yellows and just pull the saturation out just a hair. Just a bit. And save that one out. And so that is the little lily of the valley shoot. Not all of these are awesome, I should mention. I mean, I went through and sometimes you have things that are like blobs of out of focus. This leaf is more in focus and this one's in focus. I mean, it aesthetically, it's kind of difficult to see. This is more pulled back and so it's less exciting. You know, getting in close. I love this one where it's kind of tucked in there. I wanted to see if I had edited one of these. I liked this little tucked in look. I like that a lot. So again, I'll go in and just adjust the color. I guess I already did that. Go over to green, pull out the saturation a little bit and lower the luminance. And I think I couldn't lower the luminance on the yellow very much. Up here, up the highlights, just a hair. Aren't those sweet? They're so sweet. And maybe go into the crop here. I liked this crop lately. It's a kind of a video centric crop, but it makes me happy, so I'm going to do it. And I'm debating if I like, there's a lot of negative space here. And I'm not sure how I feel about it. It feels imbalanced. I wonder if I flipped it, what would happen? I like that better. I like that better because we kind of read the image going this way. So the negative space becomes almost like a landing pad. Our eyeball comes in and it looks and then it lands. The other way, it felt like it was backwards. So if you read the other direction, if you read from right to left, then you might prefer the original crop. And my cat is playing with my microphone cord. Shoo. My cat named Ethel. Yes, I'm talking about you. All right, so I'm going to save that one out. And that is it. So super simple edit, just dealing with the greens, upping the highlights a little bit, maybe cloning out a little bit of dust and debris. But, you know, in this one, I'm I'm not sad about it. I like it. I like this expanse. I think it's really, really fun and pretty. So that is the Lily of the Valley Pull Back and Edit.